Hey, Aaron, how's it going?
We're just going to hang on about 2 more minutes and we'll get going. Okay, here we go. Our instructor should be joining us in a moment for today's Ignite class, but we'll get started off how we usually do and just check in with everybody on their accountability and their lead gen. Can everybody hear me okay? I feel like it's really echoey in this room.
No, you sound fine.
Okay, great, fantastic. Felicia, can we start off with you today?
You're on mute, honey.
I can't hear you, Felicia.
Sorry
Very
about that. I had navigated away from the page and was having a heck of a time getting back. Multitasking. So it's been a productive morning. I've been working at getting open houses to host, and I had really good success. Not for this weekend, it's kind of late. I had posted on the Facebook group Mastermind that I was looking for an open house and nobody responded. So today I just went down the list on RMLS the way that Hannah, I think it was, showed us. And so I have
Okay.
2 open houses to do next weekend. So I'm super excited. And then I have a lead on a FISBO that my sister gave me, one of her coworkers. So very productive.
Fantastic. Very cool. Hey, Gary, how's it going with you? How's your listing going?
Good. Little nervous, but I think I got it going. I was with Rosie last week in Corin. We were shadowing Corin, and he kind of had a minimal spread as far as his comps and his the house sheet, like the client sheet or whatever it is. It was minimal, but still got all the information out there and to the point. So I'm kind of going, okay, I don't need to have this whole elaborate spread of these like Hannah has these card holders and she puts strategically places throughout the house, and I'm like, I'm not there yet, but I think I got it. I got enough, just with a couple of comps, a one sheet with the house that somebody can grab if they want, and I'll just make it work. Just talk to people. That's all I'm there to do, is talk to people about it. So if they need more information, hey, I'd be happy to get back to you, kind of thing. So
And
I think we're good. I got a big box of cards in the mail, so that's good. I got, I'm gonna do more cards as far as for productivity and getting my name out there and just sending business cards to people I know. Try to get those referrals. That's about it.
you're going live tomorrow, right?
I am, yeah.
Well, if you want to touch base with me after Ignite today, feel free to give me a call and we can just kind of run down your list and make sure you got everything going.
Yeah, it's office hours today, isn't it?
It also is office hours today. Good point.
Yeah. So yeah, I was definitely gonna chime in for office hours and bend your ear a little bit, but yeah, perfect.
Awesome. We'll see you there. Hey, Jeannie, how's it
Oh, and
going?
I was gonna say one more thing to Felicia. I did just get an email that Charity was looking for somebody to host an open house. I don't know if she saw that email or if I think she's in Eugene.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So Charity just sent out an email about she needs somebody to host an open house tonight, I believe. So
Oh, wow.
just wanted to let her know that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow. I'm not sure I'm quite ready for that.
Yeah.
Showing help.
What was that?
It may have been for showing help. I'd have to look.
Oh, okay.
Jeannie, how are things going with you?
Good. I got a phone call off of one of my signs from one of my listings, so I'm actually going to go show my own house
Awesome.
to somebody that's not ready to buy, but in the future will be able to. Interesting.
Sorry.
And I am trying to do a vacant land real estate sale agreement that I've never looked at before. So I'm printed out, highlighting everything I've got questions about and trying to get time with my principal broker here to kind of talk with me about it and making sure I'm not screwing it up.
Yeah, totally. So you're Sunset Corridor, correct?
No, I'm in Roseburg.
Oh, right. Okay, so yeah, and you've got Mara as well to connect. Yeah, absolutely. Reach out to Mara and she'll help you with it.
Okay.
Oh, my order got messed up here. Where is everybody? Jen, how's things going with you?
Good. I found the address of the neighbors that let me use the their yard for open house signs. And I just wrote them thank you letters and put a couple cards in there. And since I don't know their name, I was like, what do I write? So I put lovely neighbor for the girl. And then I don't know, give me ideas like what I should write to, because I could get their name, but I don't want to be stalkery because they'd be like, how'd you get my name?
I suppose you're right. I mean, if it was a first name, it might not be so stalkery. I might just get the first name and do it that way. The thing is, with the different things that I do in lead gen, I've got Spokio. I'm looking up people's phone numbers, emails, names, whatever I can do to get in front of people and get in contact with them. So I get how you feel, but at the same time, I've gone way past feeling stalkery about trying to
Yeah.
get people.
So I should just write their name off of the WV or whatever.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's it.
Haley, how are you doing?
Hey, I'm doing okay. To be honest, I've been feeling super overwhelmed with everything lately. With me just kind of just now getting into like the RMLS, and the, joining the PMAR. I just feel behind, and I've been really overwhelmed with all of the tech. I found out yesterday that I was not getting all the distribution emails. So I was not getting access to all the tools that like all the other agents were getting. With my market center, I wasn't getting any market center stuff. So that I feel a lot better now knowing like why I was so confused, because I wasn't having access to just all of those learning tools. So now I can get myself signed up for like tech orientation and all of that type of stuff to just feel, I guess, more confident using all these different tools. And then the last 2 days, I've got myself to have at least 10 conversations, catching up with old people, contacts from years ago, and just kind of going from there and trying to play catch up, I guess.
Well, that's great, Haley. I'm glad things are on the upswing and you're making those contacts. And I guarantee you, everyone in this room has felt exactly the same way as you at one point or another, maybe multiple times. And then also, you've got Eric up there as well. Anytime you're kind of feeling a certain kind of way, reach out to him. He's a real great guy. And he, as far as, forgive the expression, but if you want a little bit of hand holding and encouragement and stuff, reach out to your productivity coach, Eric, up there. He's a fantastic resource.
Yes, thank you. Certainly will.
Okay, Amanda, I think I might have skipped you.
Well, I'm good. I have 3 potential buyers, one of which owns a home, so I'd be looking at possibly listing that home in the process of buying a new one. They're kind of spread out though, so I'm kind of juggling a little bit of distance right now, but I've got myself set up with a title company. I'm kind of hitting the ground running on online marketing stuff, so good.
Yeah.
I'd say all in all good.
Fabulous, fantastic. Yeah, keep us posted. Hey, Rosie, how's it going?
Good. I finished a CMA this morning for my possible listing. I'm going to send that out today. I'm kind of on vacation, so it's been harder to contact people. And my Wi-Fi is not working very well. So, yeah, it's all choppy on my end. But so I've been trying to do something every day. So,
Yeah,
still trying to think about it.
Yeah, great. If you want to have me or Mara take a look at that CMA before you send it off, please email it over to me. I'll take a look at it real quick. Jackie, how's it going?
Going okay. This week's been a little crazy, juggling 3 kids, almost end of summer. So I haven't gotten as much done that I'd like, but I've made a couple contacts. They're already in my database, but I've had some really good conversations, which hopefully will lead to something. And then I've been just kind of working on marketing and getting like postcards sent out and just trying to get some stuff done every day.
Thank you, Jackie.
You're welcome.
Maddie, did I already call on you? Okay, great. How's it going, Maddie?
Good. It's been a busy morning to say the least. I contacted Kelly at Western Title. So we're going to sit down and meet. And then I have 2 open houses, one on Saturday and one on Sunday.
Wow, great.
So I've been preparing like the nearby comps, calling for sale by owners, the neighbors, etc. And then I've been working on my 33 touch. So I've been working on the postcards, filling those out. And I think that's it.
Absolutely fantastic. Thank you, Maddie. And then Ethan, how are things going with you if you're available to chime in today?
Yeah, pretty good. Honestly, I was kind of feeling a little overwhelmed too. I actually had a list that I was kind of following, but there was just so much. So what I did is I actually went through and I gathered everything that I was hearing from all these different meetings, put it into a list, and then ordered that list. And that's helped me a lot. I've been able to just go through that list from top to bottom. These are the things that I need to do, and that's been helping a lot. And I've been reaching out, getting some contacts, as well as getting those note cards out. But yeah, that ordered list really helped me a lot.
All right, awesome. Thank you, Ethan. So as you all are aware, we have been in seller mode for about 2 weeks now, just talking about everything to do with sellers. And we kind of capped it off yesterday with looking at the actual kind of nuts and bolts of filling out a listing agreement, doing a net sheet. And today we kick off talking about working with buyers for the next couple of weeks. And so tomorrow we're going to look at buyer presentations. We're going to look at writing an offer next week. But today, to kick off our buyer segment, we have Tim English from our Salem office. And Tim has been one of the #1 buyer's agents, if not the #1 buyer's agent out of our capital city location for several years running. He now currently has his own mega agent office in the Salem area. And so I'm happy to introduce you to Tim English out of KWCC to take you guys through Win the Buyer. Hey, Tim, thanks for being here.
Hey, thanks, Aaron. I appreciate it. Can you hear me? Okay, good. Awesome. Yeah, well, glad to be on today. And it was great to hear everybody's updates and see how everybody's doing. So we're just gonna, I guess, take it from here. Aaron, do I need to do anything to become host? Oh, I'm not hearing you, Aaron. You're muted.
You should be good to go.
Okay, awesome. All right, well, thanks for joining the class, everybody. I'm glad to be here. And I'm gonna bring up I'm gonna share my screen, bring up my Ignite slides here. All right, does everybody see that?
Yeah.
All right, awesome. All right, to find and win buyers. All right, so you guys already went through your contacts for the week. We're going to be looking at where do I find, research statistics for the market, so I know kind of so I have a pulse on those kinds of things. Going to be looking at where do I find buyers, how do I set them up, how do I kind of diagnose their situation, be able to determine whether they're ready to buy, move them towards a consultation, and get them out in the car and get showing homes. So I guess though, as we get started, part of each class is making some calls. So on your page 8, lead generating for business. As we get started today, we're going to say a little affirmation together. That is, I easily find motivated buyers. So I'm going to do that together with everybody. So on the count of 3, let's all say it nice and loud. 1, 2, 3. I
I
easily find motivated buyers. All right, let's do it one more time. 1, 2, 3. I easily find motivated buyers. Okay, so looking at the clock, we've got, it's 1:18. So 20 minutes would make it 1:38. So right around that 1:38 to 1:40, be back in the room and we'll go on from there. So just make sure you're on mute and call your contacts and see if you can find any leads. Ready, set, go. All right, we've got about 1 more minute, so just wrap up whatever phone call you're on, and we'll come back in the room here in just about a minute. All right. Everybody back? How did not necessarily, I'm not going to take time for everybody to talk, but does anybody want to share kind of how their call time went? Did they find a lead, or that you're able to book an appointment? Anybody have?
Feeding into future leads, I think.
What's that?
Feeding into future leads.
Okay, very good. How many contacts were you able to make?
4.
4. All right, good. Very good. All right. Anybody else? Don't be shy. Okay, well, then we will go ahead and move on. All right, so our slide here says getting our head in the game. Finding buyers is simple, servicing buyers is inexpensive, and earning with buyers is quick. All right, it's why we tend to focus on this as you're getting started in your business, because it's just easier to work with buyers when you don't have as much experience. So list off some ways that we can find buyers. Where are we going to find these elusive buyers? Just shout it out, or put it in the chat or something.
Open houses.
Open houses. Yep.
Our sphere.
Okay, our sphere. Excellent.
Referrals from our sphere.
Yep. Very good. Those are probably the 3 top ways. Any other ideas? All right. How about through, online, where people are searching online for homes, either through your Keller Williams app, through, I don't know if any of you have a Facebook page or a website yet. You drive traffic to your website so that you can see when people are looking for homes on your website. Things like that. Obviously, there's tons of different lead services for buying leads, which I'm not going to go into today. Some of them can get pretty costly, and a lot of times the leads aren't very quality. So I would encourage you to stick with your sphere, and referrals and open houses are probably going to get you much better quality leads for less money than some of the other lead sources out there. And then servicing buyers is inexpensive. So I guess the trade-off is buyers can be time consuming versus costing you money. So that's where, as we qualify our buyers and see who is a real buyer, hopefully I'm going to help you save a bunch of time and not chase elusive buyers who might not be real buyers. And we'll talk more about that later. Earning with buyers is quick. If you do it right, boom, you can help somebody find a house and write an offer in one day, which is pretty awesome. I've done that before, and it's pretty fun. So we're going to kind of picture things like a funnel. Let me see if I can get back over here onto my slideshow here. All right, so you have some leads come into your funnel. Well, first you make contacts, right? And then you're going to find a lead. Somebody want to tell me the definition of a lead?
Someone that you will possibly end up doing a business transaction with.
Okay, close. Anybody have anything to add to that? I don't know if you guys have covered this or not, so I'll just go ahead and put it out there. You're going to want to jot this down. It will really help you to be able to sort through who is a legitimate lead. Okay, so a real estate lead is anybody who is going to buy or sell in the next 12 months. So it's not the person who says that, oh, I'm thinking about it, but I'm not really sure. Okay, you have a potential lead, or you have what we might call a nurture, where you're going to keep following up with them. But a lead is someone who's actually decided, for a fact that unless, unforeseen circumstances change, they are actually going to buy or sell in the next 12 months. So if you have at least 90% certainty that that is the case, then you have a real lead. Okay. So that's the first thing you want to sort out in your mind, because you don't want to be spending a lot of time chasing people who aren't real leads. Sure, you want to keep following up with them and nurturing them, but you just want to be careful that in your mind, they're not taking up too much brain space when they're not a ready, able, or willing buyer. And we'll talk more about that too, of determining who a real buyer is. So you've got these leads, and hopefully we're keeping those leads in our database in Command, right? And we've got some follow-up tasks to make sure that we're talking to them on a regular basis, depending on their situation and how quickly they're wanting to buy. So our next job is we want to close them for an appointment, right? We want to be able to have a buyer consultation with them. So that's the next part of the funnel. And then obviously once you have them, they have a consultation with you, you're moving towards having a buyer's agreement with them, and then get them under contract and then get paid. So that's, we're trying to move people through that. What's that?
I'm so sorry. I have my child ran in.
Okay, no problem. All right, so converting buyer leads. We are, let's see here. I'm going to move to the next slide. We are going to skip the video and look at finding buyers, qualifying buyers, and signing buyers. All right, so number one, finding buyers. So your number one job each and every day is lead generation, right? That's why we took time to make the calls. That's why you've got a goal right now of adding 10 people to your database every day. Has anybody shared with you stats of how many, what's the ratio is for how many people in your database to how many deals you can expect to do in a year?
Yes. I forget though.
Okay. It's 6 for every 100 people in your database. So if you've got 100 people that you are communicating with on a regular basis, that you're emailing them, you're calling them at least quarterly, you're sending them note cards, you're sending them market statistics, whatever it is, however you're touching base with them, for every 100, you should expect about 6 transactions. So that'll kind of tell you kind of where you're at with how many you have in your database, you know, and maybe what your financial goals are. And then you look at, okay, how many deals do I need to do? And then that will tell you how many people you need to have in your database. So it gives you a good idea of then what kind of goals to set for yourself in terms of getting out there and talking to people, because it really just boils down to a numbers game. It's just literally how many people can I get in front of, because one thing you want to get, one mindset thing that you want to get, maybe I kind of had this at first. I kept thinking, you know, there's not very many people, you know, I don't know what percentage I thought, but, you know, I'm going to talk to all these people and only a certain percentage of them are going to be interested in doing real estate, because, you know, it's not every day somebody wants to buy or sell, right? Wrong. 100% of people are interested in real estate. They fall into 4 categories: buying now, buying later, selling now, or selling later. Okay. So don't think that you've got to find this small group of people who are actually interested in real estate. Everybody's interested in real estate. And so you're just having conversations, building relationships, and adding more and more people to your database, because at some point they're gonna buy or sell, even if it's not right now. All right, so our number 1 job is lead generation, and part of our job then is to know the statistics about the market, what's going on in the market, so we can be intelligent when we talk with these potential buyers. NAR says that 88% of buyers purchase their home through a real estate agent. Okay, basically 9 out of 10. They also say that 40% of buyers found their agent through a referral from friends or family. And then a really sad statistic, only 12% of buyers used an agent that they had used in the past, which means realtors did not do a good job of continuing to stay top of mind and build a relationship with their past clients. And then 9% of buyers found an agent while visiting an open house. Okay. So we kind of brainstormed earlier how are we going to find these buyers? We talked about referrals, open houses. I mentioned the Keller Williams app. Here's a few other places to put. You could target renters and advertise to renters. The other thing to do is think about who is it that's going to be buying a home? Well, it's going to be newlyweds. It's going to be new parents who now have a baby or two in the family and need a bigger house. It's going to be empty nesters who are then downsizing. It's going to be at all of those strategic life milestones, if you will. Weddings and funerals and divorces and babies and new jobs. And so those are all the, the times and the reasons that people are buying and selling homes is around all these changes in their life. And so if you can recognize that either about people that you already know in your database or just people out in society, that's where you're going to find buyers. Okay, so I guess I need to know from you guys, are you guys connected to, do you guys know where to go to find some market statistics on real estate? Anybody?
I would definitely like to get a pointer in the right direction as
Okay,
far as easy
okay.
access to them.
Awesome. I will definitely do that here in just a second. So I want to, anybody else have a place where they go to find market stats?
We get TMO reports weekly.
Okay, good. So you're getting the TMO reports from your market center. Excellent. That's probably the number one place I go. So if you aren't connected to that, reach out to your local market center and make sure you're on the email list to receive your TMO reports every week. TMO just stands for Total Market Overview. So that would be the first place. I know, well, some of you, I think, are from Eugene, Springfield, right?
Yes.
Okay, and some of you are up in the Portland area. So whatever, I don't know exactly what you have in terms of resources through your MLS, but the Willamette Valley MLS, if any of you are members of that, has a really cool resource that I'm going to show you if I can find it.
Is it beneficial to be a part of multiple of them?
Well, it
'Cause I
kind
know
of
you have to
depends.
pay for it, so
Right. So where are you at? Are you in Eugene?
actually I'm in Florence technically, but I signed with
Oh.
Eugene.
Gotcha. Okay. That's a good question. Most of the time, one MLS is sufficient. Sometimes people up here in this area will belong to Willamette Valley and also belong to Regional. Because Regional just covers a larger area, but I don't know. I don't remember exactly how far Regional goes. It's mainly kind of the Willamette Valley and like southwestern Washington. So I'm not sure how far Regional goes. But I'm going to share my screen and I'm going to go to my, if I can figure out, I thought I had, let's just go over to this page, bring this over. Okay, I'm going to go to our MLS search because they've done a really cool thing with stats. All right, can everybody see that?
Yeah.
Okay. All All right, so if you're part of Willamette Valley, or if you have access to Willamette Valley, again, you'll have to look at your own MLS. I don't know what stats and research stuff is available to you, but in Willamette Valley, you can go to resources, and we've got a couple of different options. One is called Domus Analytics. And in Domus Analytics, we can click on any one of these headings here. And we get these cool little readouts that we can copy and paste into a newsletter, you know, and send out an email to different people. We can play with it a little bit. Maybe I just want to focus on, say, Polk County. And notice I'm at just residences under half an acre. You know, I could select condos or manufactured or land. And then these are the numbers for comparing now to a year ago, but I can also toggle it to what were the numbers as compared to last month. And so if I go from a year ago, I can look at and go, holy mackerel, home sales are down 21% over last year. That's pretty huge. That tells me a lot about where the market's at right now. I can see that our house price in Polk County is up 12% over last year. Inventory is massively up, and new listings are up over last year. So great little resource. How do I? This is kind of in the way. How do I get this bar out of the way? There we go. All right, so if I close this, all right. So that's kind of the basic one. There's other ones in here as well. This is a nice one that does both last year and last month in a graph form. Same thing, I can choose what counties or cities I want to include, what kind of properties, and it spits out all the stats. So this could be a little half sheet flyer that you could hand out or give away. Again, it could be an infographic that you put into a newsletter, or that you just have this up to be able to reference when you're talking to somebody on the phone, and you can have it ready to share stats with them. And then again, you sound like the market expert. So that's that one. Weekly trends. Let's see here. Just showing, okay, what's going on. Sales price. And then with the dates across the bottom. And market insights. Price distribution, property type. You can, no, I can't see stuff because that's in the way. Again, you can break stuff down by property type, by city or area, and be able to search statistics that way. So anyway, Domus Analytics, maybe you can look them up some other way if you don't have access to Willamette Valley. I'm not sure, but we're just using it through our local MLS. And then the other thing that we have, and if you're a member of NAR, you should have access to this. It's called RPR. Anybody familiar with RPR? Okay, so
Oh yeah, RPR is fun.
What's that?
I said RPR is fun. It's more
Yeah.
user friendly.
Yeah, it is. It's really awesome. So let me log in here. and I won't take a lot of time, but again, if you're a member of NAR, you should be able to access this. This is, so you can see, I basically went to narrpr.com. Should be able to like create an account, log in, blah, blah, blah. I don't know if you have to put in like your NAR number, you know, your NERDS number or something like that to show that you're part of NAR. But anyway, it should be free to you. And it's great for, I mean, you can do all kinds of reports in here, and you can even do prospecting in here, and you know, create CMAs and do all kinds of cool stuff in RPR. So it's just called Realtors Property Resource, RPR. And it's a great way to research stats and do CMAs. So there are some resources for you to be able to do that. Let's get out of here. We'll get back to what we were doing. And yeah, there's my command. Database. All right. Converting buyer leads, doing your market research, discussing questions on page 14. All right, page 14. Okay, so the big thing when it comes to buyers is being able to diagnose their situation. Again, to know whether or not you've got a real buyer. So, you know, I have developed kind of a questionnaire, if you will. Can't really see it, but of questions that I like to make sure and ask buyers. So, I mean, I could use this, I would have it by me if, you know, if I'm calling buyers on the phone, as I have contacts with people, because you want to find out some basic things, like you want to find out, obviously, where are they interested? What's their location, right? Are any of you familiar with the script LP Mama? Okay, jot down this little acronym, and then you can look it up. If you type in LP Mama in a search, it'll bring one up, and you can like print off the sheet and just pin it on your wall in front of you, and it will help you in your conversations with potential buyers.
What was it again?
LP Mama, LPMAMA. All right, so the L stands for location. Where does this person want to move to? P would be for what?
Price.
Price, very good. How much do they want to spend? All right. MAMA, the why am I drawing a blank?
Motivation.
There you go. Motivation. Thank you.
Yeah.
You want to, what's causing you to think about moving? You know, and find out what their reason is. All right. And then A, who's got A? I'm sure some of you already pulled up the LP Mama on a search. Does anybody have the next, what A is? I'm gonna grab it myself here. L.
It's agent.
Agent. Yeah, are they working with anybody? You have anybody helping you find a home? Now, if they say yes, does that mean you just drop them and say, oh, thanks, I'm all done? I'm not gonna.
No way.
No, exactly. No way. Because
Buyers are liars.
very good. Buyers are liars. That is exactly right. So they could either be not exactly telling us the truth, because they're basically acting just like we do when we go to a store and a clerk comes up to us and says, hey, can I help you with anything? No, I'm just looking. Right? Because we inherently don't really want help, and we think we already know stuff, and we don't want to look dumb or look like we don't know what we're doing. So you just have to be careful and be patient with people and recognize that they're just playing that silly little game with you. And they'll tell you that they have an agent, and then just be curious. Oh, so what's the name of your agent? You know, and then because then you can say, oh, I know, you know, I'm familiar with that person, or I mean, you can say whatever you want to say, but I always ask, yeah, what, you know, so what agent are you working with? Then what would be a good follow-up question? Let's say they actually give me a real name.
Who
What's that?
who their firm is. I mean,
Yeah, okay, who the brokerage is, that's good. But we want to know if they've actually signed anything. Because 90 whatever percent of buyer agents out there don't use buyer broker agreements. Okay, so they could say they have an agent, but chances are they haven't signed anything, which means they don't really have anything legal that binds them to that particular agent.
if there is an agreement, would that be a point that you would back off?
Yeah. Yeah, if they've signed something, they've clearly said, oh yeah, we signed an agreement with so-and-so, then yeah, you just say, okay, that's great. Happy hunting, whatever you want to say.
Have them reach out to me.
Yeah.
And have them reach out to me if you guys have any questions.
Right.
I'm happy to.
Right. You know, or you can tell, like if they happen to say that their agent is like a family member, and not like some distant family member, but like it's their son or daughter or whatever, you're obviously not going to break in that situation. So just, you know, leave it alone. But if they say it's, you know, some kind of distant relative that just got into real estate, then, you know, if you have a script for that, real easy script would be, well, could I share with you why that might not be in your best interest? And they're probably going to say yes. And then you're going to be able to say, hey, you know, when trusting somebody with making this big of a financial decision, would you trust a doctor or a lawyer? You know, if you're going in for surgery, are you going to trust somebody who hasn't actually done any surgeries yet? You know, so why would you want to do that? And then the other side of that is, and you're potentially, if things don't go well, potentially hurting that family relationship, if they're not able to help you find the home that you're looking for. So better to go with somebody who is more objective and has more experience, blah, blah, blah. You know, a script kind of like that. So anyway, we've looked at the LP, the M, and the A, and then we've got the second M.
Mortgage.
Which is, are you going to need financing, right? Is this cash, or are you going to need financing? And if you're going to need financing, are you already pre-approved, and who are you pre-approved with? Because we obviously need to know that. And this is where we would also find out whether they're renting or whether they own, You know, do they have to sell a house in order to buy? Or not, you know, what their situation is around the finances, besides what they're pre-approved for. And I mean, they might not want to share this with you in a more casual conversation, but this would definitely be a question you'd want to ask if you're actually having a consultation with them. And that is, how much cash do they have to work with for a down payment and closing costs? Because a lender can get them pre-approved for however much, but if they don't have a decent amount of cash to work with, they're not a real buyer. All right, and then the last A is appointment. You're asking them for the appointment. And when you ask them for the appointment, always give them 2 choices for times. The reason for that is that it shows that you, well, it shows that you're a professional, and that you actually keep a schedule, that you keep a calendar. You know, you don't want to just go to them and say, well, I'm just wide open. I don't have any clients right now because I'm brand new. That's probably not a good signal to send off to them. So, you know, you don't have to tell them what's on your calendar. It may be empty, right? You may not have any clients. That's okay. But you just tell them, hey, can you meet today at 4:30 or tomorrow at 3? And then in their mind, they're like, oh, wow, okay, she or he is only has certain openings, you know. The other thing it does is it sets a tone of who's going to be in charge. If you go in just being all flexible, like, oh, I'm just going to be the most wonderful customer service person and bend over backwards for these people, blah, 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 they're not necessarily going to appreciate that. They may even take advantage of that. And then you're going to end up feeling kind of used afterwards and kind of resentful afterwards. So you have to go in from the beginning of determining who's in charge, and not approaching it either from a point of desperation, like I don't have any business and I need to make some money. That's not a good mindset to be in. So you just want to come at it from, you know, I'm important and this is my business and I'm in charge of this and here's my schedule and these are 2 times that will work. And if they say no to the 2 times, that's fine. Then you can offer a third, or, you know, figure out what needs to happen there. But what gets communicated subtly is that that you have a schedule and that they are going to be the ones that fit into your schedule, not vice versa. Okay, so that's the LP Mama script for qualifying a buyer. We talked about local stats, qualify and schedule buyers for the consultation. Okay. That's kind of what we've been talking about, qualifying the buyer lead sheet. So whether you just use LP Mama, whether you develop a sheet like I've got here that has other questions on it, like, are you relocating from out of town? What is your current employment? How long have you been looking for a new home? Have you decided on specific areas? And then what are you looking for in a home? Have you met with a lender? What are you pre-approved for? How much cash do you have for down payment and closing costs? And then here's a good one. When would you like to be settled into your new home? And you're going to get, you know, they're going to give you a variety of answers. Could be ASAP, could be, you know, oh, just sometimes you'll get the nebulous answer. Oh, you know, just whenever, we're not in a hurry, right? what I like to do is back them up and say, okay, well, I understand that, but just in an ideal world, when would you like to be settled in your new home? If it was just about your preference, there weren't any other extenuating circumstances. Because they'll try and hide behind different excuses. But if you take that away and just say, hey, in an ideal world, you know, what house would you buy, or when would you like to be in your new home, blah, blah, blah. Then you're going to find out what's really in their head. And then you're going to know whether or not, you know, how motivated they are, whether or not they're in reality, and what you're going to need to do to help them adjust and move towards reality. Here's a lesser known question that sometimes will catch you by surprise. Is there anyone else who will be helping make the decision to buy the home? Because you could have this nice young couple, and then you go out to show them a house, and all of a sudden dad comes along. And he's poo-pooing the whole thing all the way through. Don't buy this house, don't buy that house. Because he's trying to look out for his, you know, daughter and son-in-law or whatever it is. So you want to know up front, is there anybody else going to be helping make this decision? Again, that's probably not a question that you know, ask in a casual conversation, but it's probably a question you're going to want to ask in the consultation as you're qualifying this buyer, to find out if they are a ready, able, and willing buyer. So ready is, you know, are they pre-approved? I mean, that's the biggest one. It's going to show you whether or not they're really ready. Able is, what are they pre-approved for? You know, how much are they pre-approved for, and do they have the cash to actually be able to make this happen, at least the kind of house that they say they want to buy. And then lastly, the one that's, you know, can be kind of a little bit more nebulous, are they willing? You know, some people look and look and look and look and look and don't want to pull the trigger. It means they're not willing. So it means they're not a real buyer. If they're not actually willing to buy. So be careful about that, because they could talk a good game, and they could sound like they're really interested in a house, but you're going to see pretty quickly whether or not they're actually really willing to buy. And if they're not, then you're just spinning your wheels. So that's what you want to be able to ascertain as you ask these variety of questions to qualify somebody.
To go for a diaper again.
So the basics are really kind of the LP Mama. If you follow that script, that's going to be the basic one that's going to help you understand a person's situation in order to just have enough information to book an appointment. And then the last thing, let's see, where are we at here? Yeah. I learned a really easy script for closing people for an appointment. So I'm just going to share it with you, and you can jot it down if you want to. So if I was, let's just say I was talking to Jake, and at the end of that conversation, after I've asked him all those other questions through the LP Mama script, I would just say, you know, Jake, sounds like, here's what I'd recommend we do. Let's find a time to get together. And that way I can go over the home buying process with you, can share with you the market data of what you can expect out there. And then we can do a search for the homes that you might be interested in buying. So I've kind of listed out three things: the home buying process, market stats. I'm trying to show that, hey, I'm thorough, I'm a professional. I'm not just necessarily just going to jump in and show you homes on a screen. I have a process. I'm going to share with you home buying process, market stats to help you develop a strategy for how we can get you a home. And we can do a home search and see what homes might be available to you in the areas that you're interested in. How does that sound? Oh, that sounds good. Okay, well, could we meet, Friday at 2 or Monday at 5 or whatever it is? But that's my little closing spiel, and it works really, really well. You just, no matter what they say, just get used to, so here's what I recommend we do. Sounds like we should find a time to get together to go over the home buying process, look at market statistics in your area. That way we can develop a strategy to get you a home. Then we could also do a property search as well and see what homes are available in your area. How does that sound? I don't use the word appointment. I don't necessarily even use the word consultation. I just talk about, let's find a time to get together. So it kind of makes it a little less scary. And they can see why it's important to get together. Because you're going to, I don't know, you're going to find people out there, and you probably already have, that don't think they need to get together with you. They just think they already know, and they're going to search for a property, and they're going to let you know when they find one that they like. And then you're just supposed to jump and go down there and open the door for them and write an offer if they want to. And that's not a great way to run a real estate business. So you want to show them up front that you're a professional, that you've got a process set in place, and there's a reason why that they need to come and have an initial consultation with you. So how many people are in the class today? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
I think 10.
10. Okay, perfect. Can you guys pair up with each other and like share a phone number with each other? And I want you to practice. We're going to practice setting the appointment, going through, each of you get a chance to do the LP Mama script with a script partner. And each of you get a chance to walk through asking each of those questions. One of you pretending to be the buyer and the other one being the agent, and then swap roles. Okay. So who's going to pair up with who? Let me know when you got a partner.
Can you just do it for us?
Yeah. I can't see anybody.
What's that?
I just can't see anybody.
Oh, right. Okay, well, let me just go down the line here. Jeannie, you want to pick a partner? Who would you like as your partner? I can't hear you.
I'll just pick Amanda because I see her.
Okay, you can see her. Okay, so you and Amanda trade phone numbers or whatever, find a way to talk with each other. This is probably going to take about 20-25 minutes. All right, so that takes care of you guys. Jennifer, you want to pick a partner?
Gary,
Okay.
Okay.
that's okay.
Yep.
Yeah.
So you guys swap phone numbers there.
There we
Okay.
go.
Roseanne, you You want to pick a partner? Who else we got? I can't hear you. You have to unmute.
I will pick Amanda.
Okay.
Oh wait,
Well,
Amanda's already been picked.
yeah, Amanda's been picked.
I will pick Maddie.
Okay, you got Maddie. All right, so you and Maddie swap numbers. Then we go down to Jordan keeps going in and out. So we're going to go down to Jackie. Are you there, Jackie?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay.
I can't see anybody and I don't know who's taking it.
Gotcha. Well, we've got Ethan doesn't have a partner. And Jordan doesn't have a partner, but Jordan is away from her desk.
I'll take Ethan.
So if you're there, Ethan, can you and
Oh, I'm gonna turn it off. Sorry.
all right. Let me see here. Let me go to this view here. So is that okay? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And so I guess Jordan.
Hello. Hi, Ethan. How are you? Good.
All right, I'm just checking in with everybody, seeing how their script practice is going with their partner on qualifying the lead and setting the appointment. So as soon as you're, oops,
Me and Ethan are all done.
okay. Good deal. We'll just how's everybody doing?
Good.
Are
I'll
we,
say it was good.
yeah? Anybody want to share about their experience with their partner using the LP Mama script? Anything that kind of stood out? Something you learned?
Well, Jennifer had a couple other, she said ask for an HOA, whether the people wanted, and I thought that was pretty, that was a good tip.
Yeah,
It kind of gives you a dive into, the budget too.
uh-huh.
If an HOA, what's that? And you're like, oh, okay, you're not really messing with much. But if they're like, oh, definitely have to have an HOA, you're like, oh, you're big spenders.
Like for the neighborhood,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and you get two different mindsets, right? I mean, you just always, at least in my area, I run into quite a few people that like HOAs are like evil and they absolutely want to stay away from an HOA. And so that, yeah, that's a good piece of information to know up front. So anybody else?
We ended up hitting an interesting beat, Jeannie and I, when we came to the price. Well, when one of us had said, I haven't spoken to a lender. Well, I know a lender. And so opening the door for we ended up having a good conversation about like having the connections referrals set up
Yeah.
already before having those conversations. That way,
Yes.
if you have a buyer that's not ready, you can, oh, I got a
Right.
guy for that.
Yeah, absolutely. And how do you go about doing that handoff such that you stay in control of the process?
3-way phone calls and emails.
Okay, that's really good.
At least that's
You
how
can-
I've done it in the past, is just I'll get everybody on
That's awesome.
I'll be the one that gets everyone on the line. Hey, this is this person, this is this person. Here we are.
That's perfect. That's perfect. If for whatever reason that's not possible, I always at least say when I'll tell them about whatever lender it is that I'm recommending to them and how great they are and their experience and all of that. And then I'll say, when is it time that so-and-so can reach out to you and connect with you? So I'm getting their permission for the lender to give them a call instead of them calling the lender, because chances are they're not going to call the lender. So I like what you're doing even better. If you're able to just get them right in on let me add in this person right now, and we'll have a quick conversation and be able to do introductions. But if for whatever reason that's not possible, always stay in control of the process. So get their permission to have the lender give them a call, and if you can, actually set the time or time frame for that call. Okay, we're going to look at a few questions that are kind of typical that buyers might bring up, and just take turns brainstorming about how to handle some of these objections. So let me throw out different objections or statements that a buyer might have. I don't think I can afford to buy a house. How would you handle that one?
I don't think you can afford not to.
Ah. Okay, and so follow up with that, Gary. What?
Yeah, I don't have anything else. That was it.
Well, that's a shocker. I mean, that's going to get their attention, right? But the immediate thought in their mind is going to be why. Why
Well,
would
before
you say
assuming
that?
that you can't afford to buy the house, it'd be worth talking to a lending professional about what kind of programs or options are available. Because I know that there are a lot of first-time home buyer, programs or different grants that are available to help with down payments. That's kind of where my brain would jump to as well. Before you assume that you can't afford it,
Yeah.
let's look into see what resources are available that might make it so that you can afford it, even when you think you can't.
Yeah. Yeah, and I kind of go that route too of seeing if they're at least willing to explore the options to get
Motivated.
to get the actual information that they need to be able to make that determination. Yeah. And so then you just need, again, you'd want to be ready to point them in the right direction of a good lender who can help them with that. Okay, what about this one? I'm thinking about waiting until next year.
Prices trend to go up, so the houses that you're able to buy now, you may not be able to buy next year.
Yeah, so prices going up, interest rates going up. One way to couch that is so they're talking about, yeah, I think I'm just going to wait till next year. Ask a question where you're asking for their permission of, could I share with you why that might not be in your best interest? So they say yes, which they're probably going to say yes. Now you have permission to actually to share with them. So it's a good question to have. Well, if somebody just said, hey, what's available in my price range? Let's say you kind of knew them, you knew what they were looking for and what price range they were in, and they just flat out ask you an open-ended kind of market question. Would you feel like you knew enough of your market area to be able to give them an answer? That's where, getting out and previewing homes like you guys are doing, and researching stats, then you're going to at least have, an intelligent answer to be able to say, what might be available to them in their range, what they're looking for. I can afford about $1,500 a month for my living expenses, and I'd like to live in a high-priced neighborhood that I can't afford.
Well, don't we all?
So how do you answer that buyer?
It'd be hard not to.
Right?
Well, we all like to dream big, buddy.
Yeah. Yeah, they all what do they call it?
Visions of grandeur.
Yeah, or that Cadillac dreams on Chevy budget or something.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, I mean, if somebody's like really way out in left field and it's so obvious that they're not in reality, you're just trying to dial them back into step one, right? They're out there at like step 20 and you're just trying to dial them back in. So, I just affirm what they're saying and then ask a couple of follow-up questions. One could be whether or not they've actually been to a mortgage lender and know what they're pre-approved for. They probably haven't. Otherwise, they wouldn't have these kinds of delusions. They would know what they're pre-approved for. So I would just say, well, step one would be getting you pre-approved. So then you could know exactly what you would be able to shop for. And that's going to tell you a lot right there. Either they're going to go through the initial step and actually get pre-approved and show that they're a motivated buyer, or they're not. And if they don't, then they just want to stay off in fantasy land and they're just wasting your time, and you don't want to mess with them. So always give people once you can diagnose their situation, ask them enough questions to diagnose their situation, give them the next step that they need to take, and then you see whether or not they're going to follow through and whether or not they're worth your time and how motivated they are. Okay, let's keep moving on. Okay, not gonna do that. Needs analysis. Okay. So here's where, this says page 53. Let me get down here to page 53.
Maybe 21.
Yeah, I don't, just a second. I don't know why. Okay, needs analysis, yeah.
Maybe.
Do you guys have a needs analysis? Buyer needs analysis page. I'm trying to find it.
It's on 51 and 53.
Okay, thank you.
Mhm. Oh, way back there. Oh, okay.
Yeah. Okay. So again, this is, I would say, you use your LP Mama script if you're just talking to somebody on the phone or kind of a brief initial conversation, but at some point you're trying to dig a little deeper and get more information on them. And this could be done ahead of the consultation, or it could be done at the consultation. But okay, so I'm on, page 49, needs analysis. Says, listen and take notes, be specific, ask questions and dig deeper. Ask the question, what else? Ask about the ideal, what are they picturing in their head? Never assume. And make sure it's a dialogue, not just you talking, right? So like they say, I want a yard. What would be a good follow-up question?
Can it be in the front or all in the back?
Okay,
How big of a yard?
how
Are we
big?
talking-
Yep. What else?
What do you plan to use the yard for?
Excellent. Does it need to be fenced? You know, for dogs or whatever. Or kids. Yeah, those are all good questions. So, you know, with each part of the house, that's, you know, kind of what you're looking for. They can say, well, I want a big kitchen. Well, what does that mean? What is a big kitchen? Well, you know, we do a lot of cooking and I want at least, you know, 3 people to be able to move around in there comfortably, or, you know, whatever it is. You know, okay, so what else is important to you in a kitchen? You know, what about countertops? What about appliances? What about, I don't know, lighting? So you just, each area, whatever it is they describe to you that's important, you want to make sure that you understand more of the specifics about it and not just take what they said at face value. And that shows them that you're interested in them, right? So when you're doing the buyer consultation, it really kind of flows into 3 parts. So if you want to jot this down, this is how I start my buyer consultations. People come in, they sit down, you know, I say hi, make a little bit of small talk, and then basically I'm taking charge, right, of the meeting and letting them know that I'm not going to waste their time and we're not going to sit around and just shoot the breeze, that they're there for a purpose, and that this is all, you know, thought through, and we're not just going to, you know, chase a bunch of rabbits down rabbit holes. So I'll just let them know we've got I've got 3 goals for our meeting this afternoon. First one is to get to know you and what your real estate goals are. 2, I'm going to share with you about the home buying process, the market statistics that, you know, market that we find ourselves in, so that you know what to expect when you get out there looking for a home. And a little bit about me and how our team works, what you can expect from us. And then 3, if you feel like we're a good match and you want to move forward, then I've got a little bit of paperwork for us to do. And then we can do a property search and look for the homes that you'd be interested in. So boom, there's my outline. Okay, so that way it becomes real easy for you to kind of commit to memory and a mental outline. You're going to follow your buyer needs analysis is real easy up front. You're just going to ask them all those different questions and get to know them and exactly what they're looking for. I usually close that first section by saying, do you have any questions at this point or anything else that you want to add? Letting them talk and then they'll say, no, I think that's good. Okay, we're going to move on to the second part of our consultation. And then I talk a little bit, very, very briefly, about myself and go right on to the home buying process, based on whether or not, are they a first-time buyer or are they an experienced buyer? You're going to handle that differently based on who the person is and how much knowledge they already might have. So you're going to have to tailor it to the situation, but you're going to walk them through what the home buying process looks like, walk them through how you handle it and what they can expect from you in terms of customer service. And if you've got any, specific ways that you handle showing homes or writing contracts. And, and for instance, one of the things I'm doing in there is setting, I would say the number one job in that buyer's consultation is setting expectations. Expectations for how the process is going to work, expectations for how they're going to relate to you. Can they call you at 11 o'clock at night? Do you want them texting you at 5:30 in the morning? Or are you going to have boundaries and, and let them know, hey, I want to be available to you, and I also have a life. So you guys have to decide what kind of realtor you want to be. Are you going to be the 24/7 realtor that says you can call me anytime? Personally, I don't want to be that person. I have a family, and so you don't have to run your real estate business that way in order to get people. You can still give them good customer service and still have boundaries. So I just let them know, here's what you can expect from me during regular business hours. Give me a call or text, and I'll call you right back if I'm on the phone with somebody else. If you call me after business hours, here's the best way to reach me. Text me, and I check my phone several times in the evening. If I see it, I may respond. If I don't see it, you will hear from me the next morning. And same with the weekends. And then I just smile and I just add to it, because the really great thing in real estate is there really aren't any emergencies. And it's just a cute little way of saying, there's nothing that's that important that you need to bother me about that can't wait till the next day. And if perchance, that way, it just leaves the ball, in your court as to whether or not you want to respond, letting them know, hey, I may, but I may not. Just kind of depends. But anyway, you have to, choose how you want to do that. But a lot of what you're doing in that buyer's consultation is setting the tone and managing expectations around how this whole process is going to go. And then you're going to see whether or not they're going to be the kind of clients that you want to have for the next 30 to 45 days. So, okay. Maybe I have questions at this point.
So your close was, if you feel we're good match, we could do a little paperwork and then get started on that search for you. And that's where you'd sign that kind of buyer's agreement.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, the OR. Yeah. So I already have a stack of the paperwork there. I've got the buyer's agreement, the OREA disclosure pamphlet, and the disclosed limited agency for buyers permission form already there. And I just start with the OREA pamphlet because it's the simplest. Hey, this is just information that the state agency wants me to share with everybody. It's basically the duties and responsibilities of these 3 different types of agency. Explain it, briefly, let them read through it, initial off on it. That leads really nicely into what we call the DLAB, the disclosed limited agency for buyers, because you've just helped explain what disclosed limited agency is and how it works. And so then you go right into that going, when we get out there, it probably won't happen, but we like to have this conversation up front. And that is, are you okay? You know, probably for most of you, if you guys are going to be buyer's agents, where you could potentially run into is if you had two buyers that were interested in the same house. And you're trying to help both of them put their best foot forward. And then the one that's the technicality that a lot of people miss is just the fact that because the way Oregon does real estate, if you're from the same market center and you're sharing the same supervising broker, then if their name is on both sides of the transaction, you're technically in a form of disclosed limited agency. You know, I just let them know, hey, if you end up wanting to write on another Keller Williams Capital City listing, this could be the situation, even though it's kind of a technicality, but it is still disclosed limited agency. So here's the form, and I have them fill it out. And most of the time they're going to trust you and say, okay, yeah, it's fine. They check the boxes and sign it. And then you go on to the agreement. And so part of it's just getting used to those forms. You know, looking through the buyer representation agreement, practicing filling one out, you know, deciding, you know, how you're going to get paid. So like, for instance, when you get down to the commission piece, I don't know what it is like in Eugene or other areas around here. You know, what's pretty normal is 2.5%, right? And you see that probably 90% of the time, you're going to see 2.5% in that commission box. So that's what I let them know is what I work for. And I also let them know then that if a property comes up and it's not at 2.5%, if it's at 2.25% or 2%, that there's a gap. And that I'm going to let them know about that gap before we go see the property. That way they can decide whether or not they really want to pursue that property or not pursue that property. But I'm sharing with them up front that there's a gap there that I would be asking them to fill that gap on the commission should they buy that house.
You're asking the buyer?
Yeah.
Hmm.
Now I know that's probably a new concept for most of you, but again, here's where you show what you're worth, that you're a business and that this is how you work. And my mentor taught me to do that from the very beginning, to just set the norm. And I can even show them, you know, I'll pull up a listing sheet and show them the box. Here it says 2.5%. And I tell them, this is what the norm is. You're going to see this on 90 whatever percent of all the listing sheets. However, every once in a while, somebody's using some discount broker or whatever, and they're not passing on 2.5%. And so when they're not, I'm going to share that with you. And I'm also going to ask you to fill that gap if that's a property that you really do end up wanting. So by saying that up front, obviously most of the time it doesn't happen, right? But in the off chance that it does, then it's not a surprise. They're already prepared for it. They're usually very willing to do it. And I just have them sign an acknowledgement that shows that they're going to cover, you know, 0.25% or whatever it is. And you send that signed page off to the escrow people, and it just gets worked into their closing costs. So highly recommend it. Same with these buyer broker agreements. Really need to make sure people are filling them out and signing them. Because, you know, if they're not willing to sign something with you, you know, they're basically showing you that they don't want to follow your lead. And some people still have this really crazy. So what I'll do is I'll just be patient with them. And because most of the time they think that if they have 5 or 6 realtors looking for homes for them, that somehow that's better than having one. And what they don't understand is that everybody has access to the same listings.
Yeah.
So here's, if you want to write this one down, here's my objection handler for that, for the person that wants to have multiple realtors. So, Mr. Buyer, I can appreciate you wanting to have people looking out for you to try to help you find the right home. But what I've found to really be the case is that when somebody wants to have, multiple people working for them, the reality is they really don't have anybody working for them. And they look a little bit shocked, right, when I say that. So yeah, and so then I just go on to explain that because they haven't signed, they haven't actually hired a realtor. None of those realtors know that they're ever going to get paid. So how much effort does the person think they're really putting in to try and finding a home for them? Zero. They're helping the clients who actually signed up to get help. So you might have 5 or 6 realtors, but you're not top of mind with any of them. And it would be much better in your best interest to hire one who will actually go to work for you. And by the way, I'm that person, right? And then you kind of put a little plug for yourself of how you're going to work hard to help them find the right home. Now, most of the time, they're still going to be stuck in their wrong mentality and still, not want to sign with you. But you've helped dispel some of their wrong thinking around thinking that they can have multiple realtors working for them. The reality is they don't have anybody working for them. Other questions? Looking through. Okay. So you guys have this home buying guide. Looking at this, a guide to buying your home, page 31. Let's turn to page 31 and we'll work through this home buying guide. Okay, so I don't really use one of these per se, but I know some people do, and they'll have packets for either for home buyers or for sellers, and that's fine. It can help kind of walk people through what to expect. So page 32.
Get that. Could you try again?
Stop it. It's my phone thinking it's smart. All right, now skip page 32. Page 33, what you get from me. Okay, so yeah, this is really kind of, basically this is spelling out in paper form what you want to be able to communicate in the buyer consultation, right? Like why they should work with you. So whether you want to use this as like an outline, a springboard to kind of jump off of, use some of these bullet points. Could be helpful. And then let's look at these 6 steps to home buying. I mean, this could be kind of a helpful piece even if you just had a few pages of a flyer that outlined that. Here's the 6 steps to the home buying process. I'm going to walk you through it real quick, but here are the pages, so that they can review it at a later time, because they're obviously going to, forget a lot of what they heard at the consultation. So that might be a good idea to have. So you got, boom, choose a realtor, 2, get pre-approved, 3, view homes. Well, that's kind of interesting. They kind of skipped that initial buyer consultation. So I'm not sure I really like that. I would say choose a realtor, get pre-approved.
What page are you looking on?
I am looking at, it says it's on mine, it's page 34. It says educate your buyers. Because even in step 1, it doesn't say choose the best real estate agent to represent you in finding and purchasing your home. Oh, and sign a buyer agency agreement to work together. So, I mean, I guess they're sort of addressing that in step 1, but really, I want them to be pre-approved before I have an initial consultation with them, because I don't want to waste my time. So I might have, a phone conversation. I might have a coffee with somebody or spend a little bit of time, but I'm not going to do a full-blown consultation with somebody who's not pre-approved if I can help it. So I'm going to kind of switch 1 and 2 around and get them to that pre-approval, then do the buyer consultation. And then they're signing paperwork with me, or we're not going out and looking at homes. So then we finally go out and look at homes. All right, let me share with you a little bit about showing homes. So what you don't want to do is just be a door opener, right? If you have somebody that thinks they're in charge and you're just a door opener and you're running around everywhere, you're going to spend a lot of time and a lot of gas and maybe get paid. So kind of the system that I learned that helped cut down on the time and really dialed buyers into understanding my expectations for how the process was going to work. It really all goes back to the buyer consultation. So 1, you're going to do enough market statistics that they understand what homes are going for. So if they're buying a home in Salem, let's say, and they're wanting to buy a home at, say, $400,000, I'm going to show them that those homes are going for 102% of asking price. Because of what I don't want to have happen is they seem all happy-go-lucky and everything's wonderful and they've said yes, and we get in the car and we go out there and then they want to do a lowball offer. Well, I could have avoided that by spelling it out in the buyer consultation that that's not what's going to get them a house. So they're going to decide mentally up front whether or not they're going to work with me. I mean, you don't tell them what to do. I'm not going to say you can't put in a lowball offer. You don't say that, but you set expectations. You just say, this is what it takes to get a home. You're just displaying reality. So the more reality you can give them and the more detail that you can give them and say, this is how it works, and this is what's going to get you a home, then they're either going to decide not to work with you, or they're going to decide that they need to play by the rules. So market statistics in the consultation are really important to set expectations for price and whether or not they're going to have to compete against other offers or not, depending on the price point or the kind of home that they're interested in and how hot of a property it is. So you're trying to set all of those expectations up front. Will save you so much time when you get in the car and actually go to show property. The next thing I would say is that you want to go straight from that consultation to showing property. And what I mean by that is at the end of the consultation, I'm showing them homes on the big screen, and we're developing a list of the ones that they want to go see. And we set the appointment right then and there of when we're going to go see the homes. So it's not just they're going to sign up to be a buyer and I'm going to send them on a search and buy and see you later. We've got the very next thing that we're doing, which is going out to find you a home. The next thing I do is set expectations around what it means to go buy a home. And I let them understand that because of the internet, we can see all these homes right now and narrow it down to the 3 to 5 that you actually are serious about wanting to go see. And because we've looked at all these homes online and don't have to waste all this time going out and seeing all these homes, it speeds up the process. And so when we go out and look at these homes, then I use a process that I call the ophthalmologist method. You can call it whatever you want to. If any of you have been to the eye doctor, you know that they always say 1 or 2, right? Better or best when you're looking at various lenses about, which ones, is the best for your eyes. And so when we go out and look at homes, I'm just basically asking, okay, what did you like about house number 1? And then we go see house number 2. What did you like about house number 2? Okay, if you could only choose between house number 1 and house number 2, which one would you choose? So what that does is it forces the mind to start making choices. Because otherwise what they'll do is they'll put it off. They'll go, oh, this was a nice home. I liked this and this and this. And then you go to the next home and the next home and the next home, and they do that about all the homes. And then they're really not sure about which one to buy. And they say, oh, I need to go home and think about it. Right? That's what they do. So what I do up front is I just tell them, hey, I've got this great process. I call it the ophthalmologist method, because what I know is that a confused mind cannot make a decision. So what you've done by saying that is that you've kind of set an expectation, because nobody wants to look confused, right? Nobody wants to look dumb. So you've just said, I know that a confused mind can't make a decision. So I'm not here to sell you the home. The home's going to sell itself, but I've got this self-discovery process that I'm just going to help you walk through so that you guys can decide for yourselves. So home number 1 or home number 2? Oh, we like home number 1. Okay, well, we don't have to remember home number 2 anymore. Let's go on to home number 3. Okay, 1 or 3? It's still 1. Okay, let's go on to number 4. Is it 1 or 4? Oh, wow. Yeah, we really like number 4. We think that's better than number 1. Okay, let's keep number 4. Let's go to number 5. Is it 4 or 5? Yeah, I think 4 is the best one. Okay. Now, what I've also told them in the consultation that I'm going to share with them, I've shared with them, I'm going to use this method this is the method that I use for showing homes that helps people get a home the quickest for the least amount of money. It's just the most efficient way of finding them a home. So I've shared that with them. And then I've shared that at the end of that tour, you're going to hear me say, is there any reason why we can't do some paperwork? So they already know it up front. I've set the expectation. I use the method. We get to the end of the tour. They've told me what their favorite home is. And I simply ask them, is there any reason why we can't do some paperwork? It's pretty simple. Most of the time they say yes. And then once you develop a track record, I mean, you can even say, and I can say with honesty, the majority of my buyers put in an offer on a house the first time out.
That's good.
I say that in the consultation. And some of them go, really? You know, I mean, they're kind of taken back by that. And I just say this because I use a very efficient process. We've looked at all these homes. We've narrowed it down to the ones you actually want to go see. And it becomes very simple and very obvious which house is the best house for the amount of money that you have to spend in the area that you want to be in. So then I still give them an out. And here's their out. That if they don't find what they're looking for on that trip out there, and I tell them it's perfectly fine. So on one hand, I'm giving them permission that it's okay to buy on the first time out. And secondly, I'm saying, if we don't find what we're looking for, then we need to change one of three things. So in real estate, we can only change three things. We can change the location, we can change the price, or we can change our expectations around the home that we're trying to purchase. But we have to change one of those three things. Otherwise, we're going to keep bumping into the same problem again and again and again. And you're going to get frustrated, and I'm going to get frustrated, and we're going to waste a lot of time together. So I just share that with them up front. And so then they know it's okay if they don't find the house they're looking for, but we're going to change one of those three things for the next time that we go out so that we don't, you know, run into the definition of insanity. All right. So it kind of holds them accountable that we're not going to just keep looking for the magical home that doesn't exist. And I can even go into more detail and share with them, you know, why at this price point in this location, these are the kind of homes you're going to find because of the way they're priced by realtors who are listing the homes. So if we're not finding the home that you're looking for, it's either in a different location or at a different price.
I would think you'd find out too that maybe they need a little bit more room or something. Like it's almost like you have to demand what it is that they need to narrow down, right? I mean,
right. So they may not, you know, they might have some people really specific about what they want. Other people don't necessarily really know. I mean, they know some basic things, but what you find is they start making these little micro adjustments as they experience the market. They realize, oh, we're probably not going to get this one feature that we really wanted. We're just not going to find it. And that's okay. Or we find out that something really is important to us that we hadn't thought of before. Or we realize we're really not going to find the house that we really want in the location that we thought we were, but we might have to be open to going to a different town. So, I mean, they just discover all of that. And then you just become kind of like the tour guide who's taking them through this experience, and you're interpreting the facts for them, helping them understand what they're experiencing, and then kind of holding them accountable to that so that they don't go off into their own story of and keep, you know, wasting people's time trying to chase the dream house that doesn't exist. So that's kind of the method I use there. It again, it really shortens the time a lot. And then again, if you've done your homework on the market stats up front, then when they do find the house that they want to put an offer in, then they understand what a realistic offer looks like. You know, I even let them know, hey, you know, in the hot market, boom, I'm going to call that listing agent while we're still in the house and ask them if they have any offers, and if so, how many? Because then I'm going to be able to coach my clients in what kind of offer that they're going to put in. Any questions? There's a lot of things to think of, a lot of moving parts. Part of it is then, you know, working with that buyer, making sure, even though you're not the mortgage lender, do you guys have mortgage calculators on your phones? Have you already downloaded an app? If you haven't, you need to, and play around with it, plug in those numbers, because that's one of the things they're going to say they need to think about is whether or not they can afford this house. So you just say, oh, okay, well, I've got a mortgage calculator right here. Let's plug in the numbers. So you plug in the numbers and you're going to be able to show them, this is approximately what your monthly payment's going to be. This is how much your down payment and your closing costs are going to be, you know? And then they'll go, oh, okay, we can do that. Or no, we can't, or, you know, whatever it is. So that's a helpful piece there too. And really talking to that mortgage lender and understanding those people's financial situation going into the home tour, you know, what can they really afford and how much cash do they really have to work with, and kind of being able to play with those numbers in your mind. It's going to help a lot in helping them put together the offer. Okay. All right, so we've shown them the house. We've got them to, they finally say, yeah, I want to put in an offer. So let's go to page 38, making an offer. All right, so all the factors that go into making an offer. So obviously you're going to start off with price, what you're going to actually what they want to put in. Now this isn't necessarily all up to the client. I mean, yeah, obviously it's their money and they're going to decide what they want to offer. At the same time, you're the expert. So if there's any question as to what this house is really worth, a really good practice that will also help keep you out of trouble is to do a quick CMA on the house that they want to buy. It doesn't have to be a big full-blown CMA like you would do for a listing, but to do a quick CMA and look at what are the other comparable houses to this house in the last 3 to 6 months, and what have they sold for? And is this house, you know, priced appropriately, or do we think it's overpriced? Who can tell me what's a really easy way to tell if a property is overpriced?
No offers.
Right. It's been on the market for more than a week. So, and that may change now that the market's slowing down or whatever, but any property that's been on the market for any length of time is overpriced, because if it was priced according to what the market says it should be, then it would already be sold. Does that make sense? Because it's kind of the definition of value is what somebody willing to pay for something. So if they're not willing to pay the list price, then it's not worth that. So then the question becomes, how much overpriced is it? So that's where you need to run that quick market analysis and look at your comps and be able to, figure out, oh, this is like way out of line, or are we just talking like this is off $10,000? And then you can advise your clients. Hey, here's what other things sold for. Here's 3 comps, and I think it's about $10,000 overpriced. So my recommendation would be to offer X. Again, you're not telling them what to do. You're just giving them information and giving them advice, and then they can decide what they want to do. I'll get those buyers who want to put in that low ball offer, and I don't let it, upset me or anything or whatever. I just say, yeah, you could do that. You certainly could, and it probably won't get you the house. Because here's what I'm seeing, and I just bring it back to reality. Here's what I'm seeing in the market. These are typically what houses are going for. Blah, 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 blah. And I just back it up with facts. So it's not an emotional thing. It's not my opinion versus their opinion. They still want to put in that low ball offer. I'll still do it for them. But I just want to let them know up front, because I'm showing that I care about them, that, hey, I just don't want you to get your hopes up on this one, because it's probably not going to get accepted. And here's, at least where we've been up to this point is, do you want to go back and forth and dicker over 10 or 20 grand and waste 2 or 3 days and let another offer come in, and now we're competing and it drives up the price 30, 40, 50 grand, and that costs you more money than just offering them asking price. Right? So, part of it's you sharing with them how the game's played and giving them the options and saying, it's whatever you want to do. However, here's the reality. All right. So price. So yeah, you want to do a CMA, you want to be able to give them a recommendation. And obviously you've also looked at the stats and let them know, hey, homes in this area at this price range are going for 102% or 103% or 98% or whatever it is, and then they can offer accordingly. The move-in date may or may not be synonymous with the closing date, right? You could have possession. I've got a house that's closing this Friday, but the people are staying in it an extra couple of weeks. So we've got a post-occupancy agreement. So you'll see that in the contract of whether or not possession is at close of escrow, or whether it's 3 days after or 7 days after or whatever. So that where you just got to ask questions of your buyers and find out what their situation is, and also find out what the seller's situation is to see what you can get negotiated. Additional property. So, looking at the listing to see, are they leaving the refrigerator or the washer and dryer? All right, so you guys know that the stove and the dishwasher, and if there is a built-in microwave, those are standard things that stay with the house. You don't have to ask about those. You don't have to write those in as inclusions on the personal property. It's already understood that those items come with the house. So the things that you want to put in there, if your buyer's asking for them, would be the other appliances or other items that don't normally come with the house. So if they're asking for the fridge, General rule of thumb, if you remember from real estate school, is it attached? If it's attached, it comes with the home. If it's not attached, it doesn't necessarily come with the home. So then that's the way you want to approach that on appliances. All right, so then you're going to get a response of either an acceptance, a rejection, or a counter offer. And then earnest money. General rule of thumb on earnest money when you're coaching your clients is 1% of the purchase price. Could be more, could be less. There's not any necessarily a rule about it, but it's typically around 1%. If you're in a competitive situation and your buyer wants to show that they're a strong buyer and they're super serious, then and if they have the ability to, you might want to up their earnest money. Is one way to show that you're a serious buyer. Okay. Closing. Closing day marks the end of your home buying process, blah, blah, blah. So you're trying to explain this to your buyer, help them. One of the things that I find that I don't know why, a lot of buyers forget is to set up utilities. Especially first-time home buyers, they just don't think of it. So make sure you have a checklist for them and that you're reminding them to get the various utilities set up for the day that they're to take possession. Okay. Let me explain a little bit about closing costs. How many of you may have questions about closing costs, like what they are, because they're kind of this nebulous thing that people throw around. You guys really know what closing costs are made up of?
Yes.
Okay, Jennifer, go for it.
I don't mean like taxes and
Is-
partial mortgage for the month or whatever.
Yeah,
The homeowner's insurance, you have to pay that stuff up front,
yep,
mostly taxes up front.
yep.
I-
And then just the title and escrow fees.
You share the escrow, right?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Well, yeah, you share the escrow, and then of course, a seller is going to have some closing costs too. They aren't nearly as much as a home buyer, but they're going to have to settle depending on what point of the tax year they're in, whether or not they're paid ahead or not. Is going to determine whether or not they got to pay a little bit more or whether they're going to get money back on their property taxes and insurance that's been held in escrow. But for the buyer, all those different fees, the property taxes, the insurance, their loan origination fee, and the title and escrow fees tend to add up to somewhere around 3% of the purchase price. So if you don't have a calculator and you just want to tell somebody and you're just trying to figure some rough numbers, then let's just say they wanted to buy that $400,000 home, and they're going to get it. They're going to do a conventional loan with 5% down. Well, then you're just figuring 5%. Okay, what is that? Well, it's 20 grand, and then what is their closing cost going to be? Another 12 grand. So do they have $32,000 to be able to buy this $400,000 house? So that's kind of helpful to be able to get familiar with that and communicating closing costs to what they are, how they work, how much they, how much are they going to be, and that sort of thing. All right, let's get past this home buyer's guide, blah, blah, blah. You've got some scripts there for how to close the buyer representation agreement. Everybody's going to have their own style. For me, I use what's called the assumptive close. I'm assuming that if I'm getting the person into my office to have that appointment, that they're going to do business with me. So I don't necessarily ask them to sign it. I just put it in front of them. I mean, it's what we're doing, right? We're here to buy a house. And why wouldn't you want to buy a house with me? I'm the expert, and I'm friendly, and I'm going to do a great job for you. So part of it's your own mindset, and not second guessing yourself, not overthinking it, not making it harder than it really is. Just be friendly, ask a bunch of questions, make sure you're knowledgeable, and move through the appointment. And you've already set up front, I've got 3 goals, and the third one is that we're going to sign the paperwork. So once we've done with the first 2, and things are going smoothly, you just say, okay. So I just pick up the paperwork, and I've got some different things here for us to work through. And like I said before, if you just go ahead and start with the OREA disclosure pamphlet, that's pretty painless and non-committal, right? That's just an information piece. It's a great way to get started on the paperwork without it being potentially threatening, right? This is just an informational pamphlet. Let me explain this to you, blah, 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 blah. They read it, they sign it. And then that's why I do it in that order. So then we go to the next one, the disclosure limited agency for buyers. And now we're getting into how are we going to work together, right? And I'm showing them what it means and what that would look like. And so again, they're willing to sign that. And then I just save the agreement for last. And by the time we've gotten to the agreement, they've already done this other paperwork. They've already decided in their mind that they're going to work with me. So then it's just a matter of spelling out the details of the agreement. Hey, I signed these agreement for 6 months. Here's the specifications of what you're looking for in the area that you're looking for it in. Here's how I get paid. Here's the whole deal about 2.5%. Sign here. And I sign it, and I hand it to them, and they sign it. And then I just go, oh, phew, we got all the paperwork out of the way. Now we could do the fun part of looking at homes. And
what's your most common objective when you get to that point, that
Yeah.
Signing that disclosed limited agency, and then the buyers,
yeah,
they're whoa kind of thing.
Right. Really the only objection, and this is really, really rare, I really doesn't happen hardly at all. It's the person who just doesn't want to sign. They've already in their mind, the way they've done real estate, they've never signed an agreement. They don't want to sign an agreement. They want to have multiple realtors working for them, and they just don't want to sign with anybody.
Yeah.
Other than that, everybody else signs my agreements.
Right.
And
maybe that person isn't the right person to work with.
Exactly.
Yeah,
I just let them go.
not.
Yeah, I just let them go.
exactly.
I'm sorry to hear that. I'd love to be able to help you. And I just try and help them understand, one, if they don't hire somebody, nobody's really working for them. 2, this isn't any different than if you would hire a plumber or an electrician. You sign a contract for them to come out and do work for you. Well, why wouldn't you do that for the purchase of your home? Right. So yeah, it just very rarely ever happens. Anybody else that I'm already nurturing as a lead, by the time they get into my office to do to do a buyer broker, they've essentially already said yes to me. And this is just kind of a formality, so to speak.
Right.
So, I mean, they're typically signing the agreement 9 out of 10 times. I have like a 90% close conversion on setting an appointment to having a signed buyer broker. So
Through your nurturing, you're kind of, you closed them, just through nurturing them. And
yeah,
like you said, it's just formality. Oh, it's time to move forward. You got to come to the office. Next
right.
step.
Yeah. Right. Exactly.
Right.
Exactly. So, well, we've got about 7 minutes left. Other questions that you guys have about either lead generating, putting in an offer, the buyer consultation, any of those steps along the way?
I guess just what's a good, you already said pretty much all your closing lines. So
Yeah. Yeah, I've got the one closing line for setting the appointment. I mean, that's probably the biggest one that you use over and over. And I would just practice it. Practice it with somebody who's going to give you a hard time and
Right.
tell you to go to hell. And you say, great, here's what I recommend we do. Let's find a time to get together. So that you're just prepared in the face of whatever somebody says, that is always going to be your line. Great. Here's what I recommend we do. Let's find a time to get together and go over the home buying process. Right.
I guess now it's just nailing down that home buying process, getting that script down,
Yeah. That's it. That's the biggest piece that takes some time, is having in your mind the consultation, so that you don't ramble or chase squirrels or what have you, that you've really got the outline in your mind that we're going to do the buyer needs analysis, and then I'm going to share about the home buying process, my process, the market statistics, expectations, all of that, and then being able to do a smooth job of handling the paperwork, and then moving into the property search, where you then are again still setting expectations around that we're not there to just look at homes because they're pretty, but we're building this maybe list. That's what I call it. I call it my maybe list. So maybe we pull up 20 homes or however many come up in their search, and then I just say, so we look through these homes. If you don't like the look of one or whatever, we don't have to look through all the pictures. Just let me know that's a no, based on location or size or whatever. And then one that you like, let me know that that's a maybe. And then I just click that one and I build my little list of the ones that they liked. So maybe they liked 5 of them. And so then after we've weeded out all the other ones and we've got the 5, then I go back over that list of 5 with them a second time. Are these the homes that you'd like to go see? And maybe there's one that they want to add. Maybe there's one that they want to take off. But we finalize that list, and then we set the time for the home tour. And I let them know, I'm gonna build a tour, that makes sense, geographically, and I'm gonna send you the itinerary and which property that we're gonna start at. And they already know what the process is gonna look like. It's gonna be the ophthalmologist method, and we're gonna meet there and go through those homes and follow that process. So it makes it
control the situation, run the show.
Yeah. Right. And then it just comes really simple, takes the pressure off of you and them, and it makes it really simple. So anyway, if any of you guys have any questions, love to help you in whatever way I can. So my email is really simple. timothy.english@kw.com. timothy.english@kw.com. And so as you guys are learning to work with buyers and you have any questions, please feel free to ask, and I'll be glad to help you in whatever way I can.
Thank you.
All right, thank you
Thank you, man.
guys, and wish you the best on your real estate journey. And good job today, and thank you for the opportunity to be a part of it.
Right on.
All right, take care.